We're now entering into the period of the Shalosh Shavuos, the 3 weeks of remembering the fall of the Beis Hamikdash, destruction of the Beis Hamikdash, the temple, and the Mishalayim, and something it's a bit strange that so many thousands of years ago we had the destruction of the temple, the Beis Hamikdash, and we're still commemorating with so many days of mourning. It was said that Napoleon once went to a shul in France, and he noticed that the people were all sitting on the floor, and they were crying, sitting on the floor. So he was amazed, and he asked, "What's the reason that you're sitting on the floor?" They told him, "Well, we're mourning for the temple." So he says, "Well, where's the temple?" So they said, "Well, the temple was in Jerusalem." He said, "Well, in Jerusalem, when was this temple in Jerusalem?" So they told him, "Well, a couple thousand years ago." So he couldn't understand it. So it's hard for people to understand it, hard for the Jews to understand how we can mourn for something which was destroyed 2,000 years ago. Especially that's in 1 day a year, but they have 3 weeks of dedicated mourning, and we don't have weddings during this time, and no music. It seems like it must have been a tremendous catastrophe. But the truth of the matter is, we find also in the Torah 4 parshas about the building of the Mishkan. And every word of the Torah we know is sacred. Any extra word, we learn many things out from it. And Eliezer, the servant of Avraham, he spoke many words, and the Torah makes a whole big deal about it. Every word is holy in the Torah, every letter. Why so much speech? And they said that the speech of the servants of the forefathers is very important. We learn lessons from that. But here we have 4 parshas in the Torah about the Mishkan. And the Beis Hamikdash is the continuation of the Mishkan. And we know that it says, the Navi tells us there's an obligation to remember always Tzion. There's always that's an obligation for all generations. We say also every day as a halach in Shulchan Aruch, before we bench, we have to say Al Naros Bavel, and that talks about weeping for the destruction of the Mikdash. And we know that on the Pesach we eat matzah more, but then we have also a zecher, what they did in Mikdash. So we have many times a zecher. Sukkot, we take the lulav, and the Torah we only take it 1 day. And Rabbi Yochanan Zaki says, no, we have to take it 7 days to remember the way they used to do it in Beis Hamikdash. In the Shulchan Aruch it says that every Monday and Thursday we have to remember the Mikdash, and it says actually you're supposed to fast Monday and Thursday. I don't know many people who do that. I think my father told me that his grandmother came to America, she used to fast Monday and Thursday. Very few people I know that are able to kind that. But it says in the Shulchan Aruch, we can't fast, so say extra tefillahs, extra prayers. That's why you understand we say burachum, the longer tachnunim. So there's so much remembrance of Beis Hamikdash. Even we know at a wedding, the most joyous day of one's life, the happiest day of one's life, we break the glass in order to remember Beis Hamikdash. In Shulchan Aruch it says anybody who has Yirei Shamayim, anybody who fears heaven, he should worry about the Beis Hamikdash. He has to have fear about the Beis Hamikdash, but we don't have the Beis Hamikdash back. And anybody who doesn't mourn for the Mikdash, it says, so then it's as if the Mikdash was destroyed in his days. So much about the Beis Hamikdash. Obvious, the Beis Hamikdash was so unbelievably important. Just one Vort I wanted to share. I heard a beautiful Vort that says that in the Beis Hamikdash, we saw how the Jews were elevated. When they came to Beis Hamikdash, they became like a different type of a person. Because it says when you go to Beis Hamikdash, that it says that no one will come and take away your property. The Gemara tells us in Psachim that shluchim mitzvah in nezukin, that if you do a mitzvah, you will not be harmed. So the Gemara tells us, because a pasuk lo sachmod, no one's going to covet your land. No one's going to cover your land when you go up to Mikdash, even though all the men of Israel, called Zechorcha, will come 3 times a year up to Beis Hamikdash. No one's going to take away their property. How is it going to be? There's no one protecting it. Who's going to protect your property? So it says that no one will covet your land. So I heard a wonderful question Zev Left asked. He says, why does it say that they won't covet it? It should just say that they won't steal your property. Would he care if they're jealous, they want your property? The main thing is they don't steal it. So he explained that the Jews who go up to Yerushalayim, they will be elevated in such a degree that the non-Jew will not even feel that the property of the Jew is shaykh to him. They have it won't be like for anybody except for a Jew. The property of the Jew will be elevated. That's what Beis Hamikdash meant. Everything that was associated with Mikdash, everything that came near the Mikdash had a special kedusha, and that's what we're missing. That's what we have to have so many days to remember Mikdash.